Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Manchester United have just drew 1-1 with Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea had their chances in that game. Rudiger had a couple of good chances. Rudiger hit the crossbar in the first half from long range. And the other chance from Rudiger came right at the end, went way over the bar. Hakim Ziyech, he also had a couple of chances for Chelsea. Callum Hudson-Odoi, he also had an early chance. De Gea made some good saves in that first half, but I don't recall him having to make a save in the second half. So Chelsea dominated the vast majority of the game, especially in that first half that they were dominant. I thought Manchester United come to life in the second half. Now Manchester United took the lead. It was Jadon Sancho that scored the goal. Sancho's goal came from the mistake from Jorginho. That's Jadon Sancho's second goal for Manchester United and his first goal in the Premier League, because Sancho scored in the 2-0 win against Villarreal. We're now starting to get the best out of Jadon Sancho. When we had Solskjaer, we wasn't getting the best out of Sancho, because obviously when we had Ole was playing Sancho out of position, and there was quite a few games that Sancho didn't even play in when we had Solskjaer. And I said Sancho will do well at Man United providing that he's used correctly. You've just got to bide your time with some players, because it does take some players time to settle in. Sancho did endure 4 good years with Borussia Dortmund before he came to Man United. Man United got Sancho for 78 million with add-ons included. Man United paid around 73 million up front. Sancho's got a contract with Man United until June 2026. There's an option of a further year. Chelsea's goal came from Jorginho. It was a penalty. Chelsea got awarded the penalty for Aaron Wan-Bissaka's reckless challenge on Thiago Silva. I thought Manchester United dealt well with the set pieces today. I thought Telles had a good game today. McTominay also did well today in midfield. He helped out that makeshift back four. But you know what? I am happy with a draw, because Chelsea have been very, very good this season. Of course, Chelsea were missing players today. Obviously, there was no Ben Chilwell. He's out until February. There was no Kovacic. And there was no N'Golo Kante. They're out with injury. Manchester United were also missing players. Obviously, there was no Raphael Varane. He's out with a hamstring injury. There was no Paul Pogba. He's out for the rest of the year with a thigh injury. There was no Luke Shaw because Luke Shaw got a head injury in the 4-1 defeat to Watford. There was no Cavani. He's still out with injury. He had injury earlier on this season. So they're Man United's injuries, and of course there's no Mason Greenwood because he's still out with COVID. Of course, Michael Carrick was in charge of today's game. It's likely to be Michael Carrick's last game in charge of Man United. You know, Carrick won his first game in charge because Manchester United beat Villarreal 2-0. And reflecting on that win against Villarreal in midweek, Manchester United qualified for the Champions League group stage with still one game to spare in the group. Ralf Rangnick is set to become Manchester United's interim manager on a 6-month contract. And then after that, Ralf Rangnick will take the consultory job for 2 years. Ralf Rangnick should be made official tomorrow. You know, Rangnick is the head of sports and development at Lokomotiv Moscow. I think it will be a success at Manchester United. You know, he's been coaching for a very long time. You know, before he managed Schalke. He won the German Cup with Schalke back in 2011. He also got Schalke to the Champions League semi-final. He managed RB Leipzig before, and he got RB Leipzig to the final back in 2019. He's also managed Stuttgart and Hoffenheim before. Manchester United will get a permanent manager at the end of the season. We'll either get Mauricio Pochettino or we'll get Erik ten Hag. Ronaldo, he did not start today against Chelsea. I was shocked in that aspect because I expected him to start. Obviously, we went with Rashford and Sancho up top, but Ronaldo did come on in the game. Obviously, Ronaldo scored midweek in the 2-0 win against Villarreal. Ronaldo scored 10 goals for Manchester United in all competitions since he re-signed. And he's got 2 assists so far since he re-signed. Van der Beek, he also came on in today's game. Van der Beek's done really well recently. Van der Beek, you know, started ahead of Fernandes in that number 10 against Villarreal not so long ago, and he did well. He made an instant impact when he came on in the 4-1 defeat to Watford because he scored in that game. That was only his second goal for the club. Lingard, he also came on in the game as well today. I think Lingard's leaving Manchester United next year because revert back to the other week. He said Lingard's future at Man United at Man United is in doubt after talks over a new contract collapsed. Lingard's current contract at Man United expires next summer. He said not so long ago that Lingard could leave Man United for just £10 million. Lingard doesn't really get in the team, does he? He's only made one start this season. and that was West Ham in the Carabao Cup. But Lingard's been part of Manchester United for a long time, risen up our academy, he's had his good periods at Man United, he's also had his poor periods as well. I'm hearing that West Ham want to re-sign him. The second half of last season, Lingard endured a 4-month loan spell with West Ham. And I heard as well that Lingard wants to go abroad. From a Chelsea perspective though, they'll be disappointed. That's 2 home games now in a row for Chelsea. They've dropped points. Because not so long ago they drew 1-1 with Burnley at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea are top, they're 2 points in front of Liverpool. But Thomas Tuchel, he's a very, very good manager. Last season Tuchel won the Champions League with Chelsea. He got Chelsea to the FA Cup final last season, but Chelsea lost the final to Leicester. Tuchel has been Chelsea manager for almost a year. He's got a contract with Chelsea until 2024. Before Chelsea he was at PSG, before PSG he was at Borussia Dortmund, and before Borussia Dortmund he was at Mainz 05. Before Tuchel, Chelsea had Frank Lampard. Chelsea sacked Frank Lampard last season. Lampard was in charge of Chelsea for around 18 months. Obviously Lampard wasn't good enough to manage Chelsea, that's why Chelsea sacked him. Obviously Lampard is a Chelsea legend, because he must have enjoyed like 13 years as a player for Chelsea, and he's Chelsea's all-time leading goal scorer with 211 goals. Before Frank Lampard, Chelsea had Maurizio Sarri. He only lasted 1 season with Chelsea. He did win the Europa League when he was Chelsea manager. He also got Chelsea to the League Cup final, but despite that Chelsea still ended up sacking him. Before then Chelsea had Antonio Conte. Conte won the Premier League in his first season at Chelsea. But despite that, Chelsea still ended up sacking him. Before Chelsea had Mourinho. Mourinho endured 2 spells at Chelsea. He was very good in his first spell because he won back-to-back Premier League titles, but he was poor in his second spell. Before Chelsea had Di Matteo. They ended up sacking him. At one point they had Gus Hiddink. They also sacked him. Before Chelsea had Rafa Benitez as interim. I think they ended up sacking him. At one point they had Villas-Boas, they sacked him. A while ago they had Carlo Ancelotti. Ancelotti won the Premier League and the FA Cup was it in his first season at Chelsea, but Chelsea still ended up sacking him. So Chelsea have sacked a lot of managers in a short period of time. They must have sacked a good 12 or 13 managers since Roman Abramovich bought the club. But Manchester United have not lost at Stamford Bridge for a while now. Manchester United have got a poor record at Stamford Bridge. We seldom win at Stamford Bridge. Don't forget Manchester United once went around 8 years without winning at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League. Last season at Stamford Bridge in the league, it was 0-0, and the game at Old Trafford was also 0-0. Manchester United's next game is Arsenal on Thursday. That game against Arsenal will be Ralph Rangnick's first game in charge of Man United. The preview for the Arsenal game will be coming up tomorrow. night or it will be Tuesday. It's more likely to be tomorrow night. As you all know, last Sunday morning, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was officially sacked by Manchester United following the 4-1 defeat to Watford. Manchester United certainly made the right decision sacking Solskjaer. I don't think the club really wanted to sack him, but the club had no choice in the end. Don't forget Solskjaer gave a farewell interview. And he got emotional in that farewell interview, which is understandable because obviously Solskjaer adores the club. You know, Solskjaer was Man United manager for almost 3 years, and Solskjaer did endure 11 years as a player for Man United. So that's nearly 14 years in total. You know, despite Man United sacking Solskjaer last Sunday morning, all Manchester United fans still adore him, reflecting on what he's done for the club. Ole is a club legend, he always will be a club legend. Manchester United paid Solskjaer around £7.5 million. Revert back to the summer, Ole signed a 3-year contract with an option of a further year. Manchester United made a mistake giving Solskjaer that contract, because I knew for a long time that he wasn't the long-term manager for Man United. I was surprised he lasted as long as he did, but the reason he lasted as long as he did is because he's a legend of the club. Disregarding being a legend of the club, he would have been sacked a long time ago. You know, the clubs Ole has managed in his managerial career. Obviously, he managed Manchester United's reserve team for a couple of years. He also managed Cardiff. His record at Cardiff was terrible. He got sacked from Cardiff because he got Cardiff relegated. Ole endured 2 spells at Molde. He won a few Norwegian titles at Molde, but they're not a big club. And of course, he managed Manchester United's senior squad. He has no proven pedigree as a manager. You know, Ole did get appointed in as the interim manager back in December 2018. And Ole did well in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager, so reflecting on that, the club decided to give him the job on a permanent basis back in March 2019. Ole knew though when he'd taken over at Man United it was going to be a massive job. Not only a massive job, a difficult job as well, despite him knowing the club through thick and thin, because Ole was managing one of the biggest clubs in the world. But reflecting on the poor performances in the last few months of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial tenure, not all of the blame stemmed from Ole. Let me just put that into the equation. Yeah, Ole was accountable for certain things because his tactics and his team selections were questioned a lot, but there was also players that had to take responsibility for those poor performances as well. You know, I did say when Ole was United manager at the start of this season that this season was going to be massive for him. And obviously the pressure was on him at the start of this season, reflecting on the summer transfer window Manchester United had. Man United enjoyed a very good summer transfer window. You know, made 4 signings, and 3 of the 4 signings were major signings. And Man United spent around £141 million. And revert back to the summer when Ole was United manager, he got very good backing from the board. You know, the Glazers backed him, Ed Woodward backed him, our director of football, John Murtough, backed him, and Darren Fletcher backed him. So, towards the end, you know, Solskjaer ran out of excuses. Ollie did not win a trophy when he was United manager, and he was never capable of winning trophies as a manager. Man United have not won a trophy since 2017. But the expectations were far too high for Ollie to exceed as Man United manager. And Ollie was in a position that he shouldn't have really been in. Manchester United spent over £400 million under Solskjaer. And Ollie enjoyed like 5 transfer windows when he was United manager. You know, Solskjaer did sign 14 players when he was United manager, and he also got rid of a lot of players when he was United manager. He loaned players out. He also got rid of players permanently. When Solskjaer was sacked last Sunday morning, he was the 4th permanent manager to be sacked since Ferguson, because since Ferguson, Man United sacked David Moyes, sacked him after 10 months, sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years despite him winning the FA Cup, and we sacked Mourinho after 2.5 years. Mourinho did enjoy one good season at Man United because he won 3 trophies in his first season. And of course, Ollie got sacked last Sunday morning. Not so long ago, I gave you the news on Erik ten Hag from Ajax. Erik ten Hag is said to be interested in the Manchester United job in the summer, and Ajax will not stand in his way if he wants to leave at the end of the season. Erik ten Hag is Manchester United's alternative target to Pochettino, so if Man United can't get Pochettino at the end of the season, they'll try to get Erik ten Hag. I presume there's a lot of United fans that want Ten Hag in. You've got to admire what Ten Hag has done at Ajax. You know, he's won trophies with them. I like the way he develops young players, and he's been Ajax manager for 4 years now. He's got a contract with Ajax until 2023. Before Ajax, he was at Utrecht. Before, he managed Bayern Munich's reserves. And before then, he managed Go Ahead Eagles. Pochettino, as you all know, he's Manchester United's #1 choice. Fabrizio Romano confirmed that the other week. Pochettino, though, has come out and said that he's happy at PSG and he won't let the Man United rumours distract him. Revert back to, was it Monday? He said PSG rejected Manchester United's approach to appoint Mauricio Pochettino. But reports did say not so long ago that Pochettino is interested in the Manchester United job, and the Manchester Evening News came out and said that Man United are confident of appointing Mauricio Pochettino as their next permanent manager. He said Manchester United agreed to pay the 10 million compensation fee. Revert back to when Manchester United sacked Mourinho. Manchester United should have got Mauricio Pochettino then, but the club decided to go with Solskjaer instead. He's a good manager, is Pochettino, even though he's hardly won anything. I think he has won a cup with PSG. He's well proven in the Premier League as well, which is beneficial because Pochettino at one point did enjoy a 5.5-year tenure with Tottenham, and analysing the vast majority of his tenure at Tottenham were competing in and out of the top 4, but he did come close to winning the Premier League when he was Tottenham manager, and he got Tottenham to their first ever Champions League final back in 2018. Before he managed Southampton, he only enjoyed a short tenure at Southampton, but he still managed to guide Southampton to their highest ever finish in the Premier League. So they're the clubs he's managed in the Premier League so far, and before he managed Espanyol. Players are going to be leaving Manchester United next year. I think next year Martial's going. I think Cavani's going. I also think Juan Mata's going. There's a good chance Lingard will leave. Matic, I think he'll be leaving. Obviously, he was playing today against Chelsea, so he was reuniting with his former club. There's a good chance Pogba will leave next year. Van der Beek, he could still leave in January. Diego Dalot, I think there's a good chance he'll leave next year. I think Jones and Bailly are leaving next year. Bailly, he only played today because Maguire was suspended. You know, Maguire got sent off in the 4-1 defeat to Watford. Maguire's got, 2 games to serve now, so he missed the Arsenal game and he'll miss the Palace game. Bailly's made 4 appearances this season for Man United. I think Telles will also go next year. You know, Telles has only been playing recently because Luke Shaw's not been available. I don't want us to get rid of Telles though, because Telles is a good left back. And Dean Henderson will be going out on loan next year because obviously Dean Henderson doesn't get in goal now, because De Gea reclaimed that number 1 spot back last summer. Henderson's only been in goal for 1 game so far this season. That was West Ham in the Carabao Cup. On my next video, I will be giving you my player ratings from this game. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you with. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.